It's been 6 months since I got a reMarkable Paper Pro move sent to me from reMarkable, and I'm going to take you through the things I like about it, the downsides, and when I think it makes sense to go with the move over the regular Paper Pro, which has become my favorite digital note-taking device. The biggest highlight and draw to the Paper Pro move is right there in the name. It's designed to be a smaller, more portable version of the Paper Pro. This is the device you take to a client meeting, a coffee shop, or if you're on a plane and you've got limited writing space. Even in my studio, my Paper Pro takes up quite a bit of real estate on my desk, and given the amount of tech I have at any given moment, I'm usually a bit short on desk space, so it's really nice how this can just fit right next to my mouse and just slot right into my space without taking up too much room. But what makes this device really shine is the display. Not only is it pretty quick for an EInk display in terms of getting around the interface, scrolling, and navigating, but this display, like the Paper Pro, uses a Gallery 3 EInk screen. Unlike EInk's Kaleido technology, which Kindle uses for their ColorSoft line, where a color filter is placed over a traditional EInk display to achieve different colors at the cost of resolution, Gallery 3 uses 4 different colored ink particles, cyan, magenta, yellow, and white, to generate a wide range of colors at every single pixel. Now, with these additional pigments, you do generally get more refreshes and things will feel a bit slower than with the Kaleido experience. But I still slightly prefer the look of this display over the ColorSoft. It just looks a bit crisper still. Though I will say blacks don't have quite as much contrast as they do on the reMarkable 2, which uses a more traditional black and white EInk display. But here's why color is such a big deal here on a device like this. Unlike with traditional pen and paper, you don't have to carry around a bunch of separate notebooks, colored pens, and highlighters. You just carry around this one device and this one marker. And like the Paper Pro, you can use the Paper Pro move in dim situations because it also has a built-in backlight. So how's the writing experience? Well, it's exactly like it is on the Paper Pro, just on a smaller screen. The marker glides more than the reMarkable 2 moves does. Some people will like that better, some won't. I go back and forth on which I feel I prefer, honestly. But the critical thing here is that your handwriting looks like it does when writing with a pencil on paper. And the sound you get when writing is just so pleasing. But the writing feel and the display, that's only half of the experience because the software matters a lot as well. First, it's distraction-free. There are no notifications, no messages from people, no social feeds to get drawn into. It's as distraction-free as a clean sheet of paper, but with the real benefits of being digital. Your notes get backed up, and the organizational system is actually simple yet effective. You have quick sheets where you can just start taking a note and worry about organizing it into a notebook later. Then you have notebooks, collections of notes around a particular idea or theme, and then folders where you can group related notebooks together. There are also tags that you can apply to help you find things more quickly. The device is encrypted both on device as well as any data that's stored in reMarkable's cloud, which is great for business users. Speaking of which, there's also single sign-on support for your company, which is another nice touch. Another part of the software that I use a lot is gestures. To get to my most recently opened notebooks or the ones I favorited, I can simply swipe down with 2 fingers from the top to get to those. Swipe up from the bottom to easily move between lots of pages. And then there are all of the writing tools themselves, which are simple but effective. Though sadly, there's only one pen tool slot in the Move sidebar, down from the 2 that you have on the Paper Pro, which makes switching between tools a bit more annoying. The Select to Erase feature often works better than the pen's own eraser in my experience, so I'm glad that's there. They also do a great job when you select something with the Select tool. It lets you know that it's now in the clipboard, and that bar at the bottom will stay there until you want to clear the selection. So you can easily move and paste something across several different notebooks. Another really useful software feature is the inclusion of layers. This allows me to add color to my website mockups, for example. I can sketch out the overall outline in one layer and then shade in some color or highlight all of the clickable aspects of a design with color in another layer. You can also toggle on Enable Shapes on your page's settings to draw any basic shape, and then the software will straighten it out for you. Now that works most of the time in my experience, though I do wish you could also just have pre-selected shapes that you could just drag out as well. You can also easily switch templates inside notebooks, something you obviously can't do with a physical notebook. And because of that new marker and processor, writing just feels more responsive than it does on the reMarkable 2. Another thing I love about reMarkable software that's especially important on a device like the Move with more limited screen real estate is the ability to keep scrolling down the page to get more room to write without having to add an additional page. You can also add margin space by simply dragging 2 fingers to the right or left, and you can pinch to zoom in or out with 2 fingers. Another useful feature is Handwriting Search. That's super useful, and it actually works relatively well in my experience. And you can also convert handwritten notes to text using object character recognition. Now, for my messy handwriting, it was about 85% of the way there, but I was able to take the notes that it converted and then put it into something like Plaud, which was able to get me to about 99.5% of the way there. This is something that LLM technology is very good at because it can figure out contextually what a word should be based on the other words around it. Battery life has also been quite decent. It'll last for around 2 weeks of light to moderate use, and then standby battery has been really solid too, so if you only use it sporadically, you're not going to find yourself needing to charge it all that often. Now let's talk about reMarkable Connect, reMarkable's subscription service, which, full disclosure, I now get from reMarkable at no cost, but previously I actually did pay for myself before reMarkable sent me the Paper Pro and Paper Pro Move. Without a subscription, you get handwriting conversion, which is actually kind of surprising, and then you get access to third-party cloud storage services like Google Drive, Dropbox, as well as OneDrive. The ability to read and organize your notes in the reMarkable app on mobile and desktop, and limited cloud storage and sync. Only notebooks edited in the last 50 days will be synced to the cloud, so if you make an edit to a notebook that's gone stale beyond that 50-day window, those changes will only be saved on your tablet locally. They will not be synced back to the cloud. Now, one workaround for that, though, is just to duplicate the stale notebook and then start editing that new copy instead, and then it will sync to the cloud. Now, one important thing to note about reMarkable's cloud is it acts more as a sync service than a true backup solution. So if you accidentally delete a notebook from the cloud, you might be able to recover it from the device's trash, but if you can't, then it's gone. There is a way to download archives of your notebooks in their editable freeform format, and I've left a link to documentation on how to do that in the Learn More section of our blog post for this review, link in the description and pinned comment to that. Now, if the Paper Pro appeals to you because you take focus in the quality of your work seriously, there's another device that fits that exact same mindset, and that's the Plaud Note Pro from Plaud, who sponsored this video. It's credit card thin with a premium aluminum build, a built-in display, 4 precision MEMS microphones, and up to 50 hours of continuous recording. After a meeting, Plaud's AI produces a full transcript with speaker labels, summaries, action items, and a mind map. Everything is organized and ready to act on. During a meeting, you can tap to highlight key moments in real time and snap photos of slides or documents to give the AI full context. It's the same kind of philosophy as reMarkable, tools that help you stay present while capturing everything that matters. And what makes this a complete professional workflow tool, not just a note-taking app, is Plaud Desktop. It bridges your in-person recordings with your online meetings. Everything lands in one unified workspace, and you can search across all of it just by asking Plaud a question in plain language. They also make the NotePin S a tiny wearable clip for more casual, hands-free recordings when you don't need the full Note Pro setup. Like when you're going to CES or another event, you can turn it on when you're having those impromptu meetings on the show floor, making sure you don't miss any key details. You can check both of them out using the link in the description. So what do you get with the Connect subscription? Well, a few notable things. First, reMarkable Methods templates, which are exclusive to subscribers. With Connect, you also get the ability to convert Word and Google Doc files into free-form reMarkable notebooks. Before this feature, you could bring those files into reMarkable to mark them up, but only as a PDF. Now it can be converted to a native free-form notebook, so things like layers and text editing, all of that works. This came via a recent software update. reMarkable pushes one about every few months or so. They even did one when I was recording this, and they often include some genuinely major upgrades. A few other things you get with the subscription: you get the ability to send notes and sketches with Slack, and the ability to write and edit notes on your computer or smartphone via the reMarkable apps. The last one was a bigger deal to me until I switched most of my note-taking to Notion. I mainly use the reMarkable apps to drag files in and sign or mark them up on the tablet and then export them out of the app, or just to read my notes on my phone when I'm on the go. All right, now let's talk about some features that I didn't end up using all that much, but I still want to mention. First is Screen Share. You can present what you're writing or sketching directly to your computer, though you'll need to set this up with the correct permissions on your Mac or PC before you can do this via Zoom or a Meet call. Another feature I haven't used as much is sending documents via email, which is probably a great feature for companies or people on the go, but not something that I've used. For exporting files, I typically just do that via the reMarkable desktop app. All right, now let's talk about the downsides, and the first one is something I run into every time I switch between these two devices. I don't care for how notes look when you start them on the Paper Pro Move and then you open them up on the regular Paper Pro. The text in handwriting just sits in a smaller area on the larger screen. I'm not sure there's really a way to fix it, but I do kind of wish it was able to expand to the larger canvas and then just move my handwriting onto the correct lines. And the same thing happens the other way around. If you open something on the Move that was originally created on the Paper Pro, it can look super small. Now, yes, you can pinch to resize, but then things can get cut off. Rotating to landscape does get you back to that normal scale, but the tiny text in portrait mode is just a reality you'd have to accept if you're switching back and forth between the two devices. Another downside is no customizability when it comes to the toolbar. I'd love the ability to customize and reorder the writing toolbar more depending on the workflow that I'm in. If I'm mainly writing and highlighting, it would be great to have a few more colors that are quickly accessible on the side, plus 2 pen slots like you get on the regular Paper Pro. And Amazon seems to have figured out a way to make the fast switching between colors a bit better than reMarkable with their new Kindle Scribe Colorsoft, which I'm reviewing. And if you want to see that review, by the way, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. A couple of other smaller downsides, those include waking from sleep when flipping open the cover. That recently has seemed to take just a tad too long compared to what it was when I originally got the Paper Pro Move, and this is behavior I've also started to notice on the Paper Pro as well, so I think maybe it just got introduced with a recent software update, so hopefully they'll be able to fix that, but it wasn't an issue a couple months ago. Another downside is there's no fingerprint sensor in the power button. It's password only for authentication. It also doesn't come with any type of water resistance rating, which for a product designed to be more on the go would have been nice to see. You can only read non-DRM ebooks. DRM stands for Digital Rights Management, which means realistically that you're likely going to want a separate device for reading all of your ebooks, since most ebooks nowadays still use some type of DRM technology. And that is an advantage something like the Kindle Scribe or Scribe Colorsoft have over the reMarkable, but they have their own downsides when it comes to note-taking, so it's not like a perfect solution there either. For me, I think the ebook thing is more of a nice to have with the larger reMarkable, but would have really been nice to have on the Move, given its size is pretty similar to a Kindle Paperwhite. That being said, do I really have a problem having a single-purpose device for reading books and then having one for note-taking? From a usability standpoint, not really, but obviously from a cost standpoint, it's more of an issue. And that brings me to my last downside, the price. $449 for a smaller version of the Paper Pro is going to be steep for many people. $449 US might feel like a worse deal compared to just getting the Paper Pro at $629 US, especially if you're new to reMarkable. So that brings me to my recommendation. Do I recommend the Paper Pro Move? Yes. Just like the Paper Pro, it delivers a fantastic writing experience in a smaller form factor. But the real tricky thing with this product is I think some people might see the lower price relative to the Paper Pro and opt for the Move as their first reMarkable device, and I'd actually steer people away from making that decision. I think this product is really more for people who already own a reMarkable device and want a smaller version of what they already have. If you're new to the reMarkable brand, the Paper Pro is the one that I'd point you towards. That's the device that I use roughly 85% of the time, since I mainly work from home and I really value that larger writing surface for ideation. For things like marking up documents, writing, design mockups, the regular Paper Pro is just going to be the better choice because of that extra screen real estate, and I'll leave my review of it if you want to check it out right here. And even though it's considerably less expensive, I can't really recommend the reMarkable 2. That product has been out for a while, and at this point, it really needs to be updated with a faster processor and EInk display. Plus, it needs to include a backlight. But if you're curious about it, I will leave my review of it here. The only people I'd confidently recommend the Paper Pro Move to are those who absolutely know that they want the smaller form factor to put in a purse or a carry bag, know they'll regularly be in situations with limited writing space, or want to write while standing up, or they just don't want to lug around the size of the Paper Pro. For those use cases, I do think this would be a perfect fit. Check out the blog post for this review to see current prices, and for all of the products we recommend, visit 6monthslater.net/shop. You can click the eye icon to see where we've covered products, links to multiple retailers, and for deals on reMarkable products, just search reMarkable Deals to see if any of the tablets have gone on sale. For 6 Months Later, I'm Josh Tedder, and if you've made it all the way to the end, comment 449 in the comments. Thanks for watching.